I'd like to welcome you all to our January 23rd Commissioners meeting. All those present, if you would please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. Commissioner absences.
Did we approve the absences for today last week?
We did not.
So I will move to excuse Commissioners NC and Wilsey from today's meeting.
Second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. Any upcoming absences to be made aware of? Okay. Any communications, Tom?
No communications.
Thank you. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes of our January 9th meeting.
So move. Second.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. Vouchers.
I'll move that we approve accounts payable vouchers 200611 through 200680, payroll vouchers 200593 through 200610. ACH payroll transfer and wire transfer fees as outlined in the agenda totaling $2,961,169.56.
Second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. Any report from our local 3390? All right, seeing none. That brings us to chief's reports.
All right, Chief Black is first. Good evening. Just a quick update from me. We're excited to say we've got some vehicles coming in that we've had on order for quite some time. So some new pickups to help support some of the different divisions and be able to surplus out some very old vehicles that we have. And so we're very excited about that. We're also starting in on speccing a new medic unit. And so Chief Dumas and I are working and have a committee put together and looking forward to getting that process started as these things take time. We've had a medic unit on order for 2 years now. So we're looking forward to that arriving sometime in 2024. But we're excited because we're able to budget and continue to order more and replace our fleet as needed. So looking forward to that. Also excited that we're getting ready to go back to Boise to BME, which is the company that's building our Type 3 engine, the one that's specifically designed to go to Fox Island. And so we'll be going back for our pre-construction meeting and very much hoping that it's going to arrive about the same time that Chief JJ is going to open that station and it'll have its new engine there as well. So we'll work hard to get some people out there and staff that as well. And then lastly, just had a great meeting today with my team regarding facilities, and we've got a great plan put in place for 2024 for taking care of our facilities and continuing to manage them in a good and healthy way. So we're off and running. End of report.
Chief Meyer?
Yeah, good evening. On February 9th, we're going to be supporting the Night to Shine event. So we're going to be providing EMS standby, and that's contract for service that we do there, but our folks look forward to that, and so we are supporting that event. Also, to paramedic student from TCC, we're hosting a paramedic student. She's going to be with us for the winter quarter. She has over 300 hours of ride time. She's assigned to one of our paramedics on A shift, and it's just great to support TCC, where one of our firefighters is currently in the paramedic program there also. So it's great to be involved in that. Peninsula School District Career Technology Education Committee. I sit on that. We had a meeting, our first meeting to kick off the year in 2024. So it's people from industry, from the school district, and also from the community, how to talk about how to bring in career and technology back into the school district or support those things. So I sit on that committee, and then Mike Dumas sits on a medical subcommittee of that. So it's just involvement with the school district that we're doing. And then lastly, the district and Pierce County DEM are in partnership to teach an ICS training to the city of Gig Harbor. So this Friday, I'm gonna be instructing some ICS instruction at the city of Gig Harbor. So unless there's any questions, that's the end of my report.
A few things from me. The last 2 days I've attended the Washington Fire Chief Legislative Meeting and Board Meeting. So I went to the board meeting yesterday in Olympia, and then today was a legislative meeting. I met with our senator and both of our representatives. Most of our things that we talked about was the tax increment financing, the fire marshal, trying to remove him, that office out from under the Washington State Control. There's a goal to do that in 2026. There was a study that just came out that, in January 1, I haven't even got to read it yet, with a lot of recommendations, so we're excited to follow that. There is legislation this year to, move the cap from 1% to 3%. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, but, I don't think any of those three of our priorities will get finalized in a short session, but sometimes it takes a couple of years. Moving on, I have a meeting this week with a quarterly meeting. I meet with Katrina from the city of Gig Harbor. We just get together to make sure that we're on the same page, that we're working together, any concerns that we have. They've also invited me to a meeting about their levy to learn more about it. So I'll be going to that. I started a meeting, we had one with all the local taxing districts and the city, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. NMET Parks, the library district, ourselves and the city, yeah. And we're just getting together quarterly and making sure that we're on the same page. If somebody, and the school district, sorry. Just make sure we're on the same page, talk about any levies or bonds. And we have another meeting coming up next week. I have Pierce County Fire Chiefs meeting this week. I forwarded you an email from Jody from DEM about the radios and the radio prices going up 300%. So it's on our agenda this week. I want to make sure that we have a coordinated plan, that all of us in the county are doing the same things. I saw a couple chiefs today that were quite passionate about it and what we're going to do. And I said, let's all do it together. Let's be together as fire chiefs. So we'll be discussing what to do about the radio increase and what to do long-term this week also. What else? February 12th is our first day for our 7 firefighters starts. So we're excited about that, and HR and operations and logistics, and everybody's working hard to make sure that we're ready for them on their first day. We've also scheduled interviews for lieutenant. We have some lieutenant promotions coming up, so Chief Meyer and I will be interviewing for that in the coming week. And last but not least, after our Fox Island meeting, we got some suggestions and a request to film that. So we're gonna try to recreate it and shorten it a little bit. And so I'm gonna try to do that. We're gonna film it next week. See if I can shorten it. And although I'm definitely willing to do it, I don't know who's gonna watch a 45-minute or half hour or even 20-minute video if I can get it that short. But Fox Island has requested it, so we're gonna do it. And Fire Prevention is gonna film it and edit it and get it out to them. That's all I got for updates. Do you have any questions?
Let's see. All right. Any standing committee reports? That gets us to item 10 on the agenda, financial report. Crystal.
Okay, so today is the November financial report. Seeing that it is January, we actually had the last December commissioner meeting canceled. So this traditionally would have been at the end of the December period. So this will be November, and then I'll just caveat that December will be coming probably in one of the February or the first meeting in March. We don't get our reports from the county for our year end information for December until probably next week at the earliest. So the December and that more year end reporting will come here in the next couple of meetings. So for November, there's not a lot of information. I'll just mention that it is typical that we would have most of our revenues collected by the end of November, especially since most of it's property tax. On the operating expenses, it's mostly as expected. The one thing I'll just point out in the operating expenses, you'll see here under debt service, you'll see $28,000. That is the temporary lease location that we are currently in. It's considered debt because it was a long-term lease. Long-term lease from a financial standpoint is anything that could be renewed longer than 12 months. So it's just the way that it displays on the report. And that's why there's no budget associated with it. Going into the expenses by division, you'll also see that temporary lease is noted. It's just listed in our capital side of the operating fund. On the capital fund, the one area of note for November is we did secure and pay for our 5 engines through Rosenbauer. So there is a $5 million expenditure reported in November. So you'll see that under capital equipment. So that is something that was not budgeted specifically in the capital fund when we did the projects, but is within the budget allocation for 2023. And then in our ending cash, there's not a lot to report here. I'll just say it's coming in the December report. Our lead agency of PSORT does still show the cash balances here because that dissolution resolution was passed in December. So you'll notice that those balances will change when we come back for the December period. Does anyone have any questions on the November report?
I'm not seeing any, Crystal. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I do not have anything for chairman's report this evening. That brings us to our bond update. Johnson.
One item outside the bond update, just to note of, keeping you apprised of our activities. During the cold snap we had on January 11th and 12th, specifically, I went down to the Pierce County EOC and served as the fire liaison, and then called in and was remote over the weekend. Didn't turn out as bad as it was originally predicted, so good thing there. But just involvement in the community and what we're doing up there. Bond update, training campus. So in the last 2 weeks, we've completed the septic easement. We had to do an easement onto our own property from the north parcel. So that went through, it will get recorded tomorrow. One of the final pieces of that whole thing before we get all the documents together. Last week, we had a lengthy meeting. There was a lot of discussion of door hardware and closures and all the things for the support building that we went through. Literally, we went door by door and made sure that everything was right. So that was completed last week. 5357, as I noted before, went out to bid January 8th. We have had one addendum. We are going to change the closing date from the 6th to the 8th. And that is specifically because there are a multitude of projects that are closing on February 6th. We did not want to try and compete with all the other stuff that was going on. So we'll move it to the 8th. Last week on Thursday, we had kind of a pre-construction meeting at 57 for interested contractors. I got there what I thought was early. It was supposed to be at 9. I got there at 8:40 and there was already people parking on the road. So there was over 30 people there. It was quite crowded, but there's a lot of interest in those projects. So good for us. Station 51 of note. Last week, we got the cost estimate back. So a little bit of history in the original capital facilities plan. Just the station was allocated at 25 million. As we started kind of downsizing, right sizing it for us, Just a ballpark figure given to us was 20 million. The schematics went out in mid-December. We got back, a estimate of 17,417,000. That's just the cost. That doesn't include sales tax. So in the state of Washington, the taxpayers pay taxes on their own taxes. So that's 1.65 million. So round figure is 19 million. And that's estimated out with escalation to start construction in March of 25. So once again, good for us. Hopefully it'll be even lower. Station 50, not necessarily capital facilities, but just update on that is the kind of the rebuild / remodel. We needed to do an RFQ, so a request for qualifications for an architecture firm, because none of that work was included in what we had done for the capital facilities plan. So that went out. First advertisement was last week. The second advertisement will be this week. And that'll close at 3 p.m. on February 5th, and then we'll continue that process. Just the first step in redoing and getting us back in this building. End of my report, if there's any questions.
When you pick an architect for headquarters here, are they just gonna deal with the walls the way they are, or are you thinking about
So it's
knock it down, or?
it's wide open. If that's one of the reasons. One is cost, and two, if you do anything besides putting it back exactly how it was built, then that's gonna require permitting and those things to do. That's why request for proposal or request for qualifications from architects.
To answer it a little more direct, they're gonna give us kind of an out part. You can put it back together, and this is what we estimated it to be. You can, and we went through some dream stuff of like what we'd like to do. And then they might, so the answer is, my guess is it's gonna swing closer to putting it back together. Just depending, where are we gonna get the money, over and above the insurance, so.
Would the insurance say if you as a group decided to open it up? Or does the insurance? I realize none of us are insurance experts, but do they just step away and say, nope, it's gotta be this way, or we're out of here?
Now, Jason's been working with them, but, at the end of the day, they're very, they're not gonna pay for it over and above, right? But they've been very good to work with, and you can answer it more directly.
Yeah, for sure. So, our insurance company has been very good to work with, and they've been wonderful. So they pay us to put the building back together. They don't take on the responsibility, a little bit longer answer, but they don't take on the responsibility of fixing the building. They advocate that to us. So we're looking to see, just like Chief Dillon said, are there some things we want to do to this 25-year-old building to bring it up, to make it function a little bit better for us, maybe open up a few walls here or there. So we're going to use the architect to do that. The insurance company has deemed this is what it would take to put the building back together that way. And we want you to do that as a minimum. And then anything you do over and above that to make your building function better for you, you absolutely have the ability to do, and then we would pay for that.
So they'll pay for this pot here and anything above.
Exactly.
This ends up being a pretty good opportunity.
We're making lemonade.
Yeah, it's just, where does that money come from, right? And let's say it's 250, okay, if that's, we could dream big and it'd be 10 million, right? So that's where we're gonna have to come to you with a recommendation of where we should land in there. I'm nervous going 10 million, I'm just pulling out of the air, because we've already spent 5 million out of the bond that wasn't planned, and to spend even more on this building, so. We'll bring you a recommendation once we get kind of a à la carte of you can do this, this, or this, and it'll cost this, this, or this. We'll all make it together on how far we go. But my guess is it's gonna swing more towards closer to just putting it back together with some slight modifications. Just because I don't know where we're gonna get.
Any other questions for Chief Johnson?
Thank you.
Not seeing any old business, brings us to new business. Resolution 2024-01. Crystal.
Hello again. Okay, there is resolution 2024-01 included on page 25 of the packet. This is the list of outstanding stale checks or lost checks. If someone's misplaced a check for the last 6 months of the year. We did one about mid-year, I think it was in June, so this is following up with the second half of the year. Almost all of these that are included on here were due to misplaced or lost in the mail. For example, US Bank, that one was a particular check that was lost in transit. And the following actions included in the resolution is to be reissued in the second part of the resolution. So resolution 2024-01 is for your review and approval today.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll move that we approve resolution 2024-01.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Chairman Rubin.
Yes. And that gets us to open public comment. State your name for the record. You'll have 3 minutes. Is there anyone online with their hand up? All right. That gets us to good of the order. Anything for the good of the order? Any special interests, upcoming events?
Thursday night this week, Pierce County Commissioners. Zoom and of course, in person it's in, Graham.
Anything else? All right, our next meeting will be held on February 13th, and we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you for being here.